Hello, and thanks for joining us. Real estate professionals help us realize our homeowning dreams in the Holy City's booming real estate market, from showing our homes to securing that perfect buy. But have you ever stopped to think about their safety? These men and women conduct tours for strangers, and unfortunately, this has led to dire and even sometimes deadly outcomes. Well, our first guest decided to take matters into her own hands and create a safety net for these professionals, a new innovative app. Helen Hudson is the creator of SafeShowings. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
What was the inspiration behind creating this app? What made you think it was necessary?
Well, being a realtor here in Charleston, South Carolina, I work with a lot of clients, and some are from out of town or internet leads. And specifically, about a year ago, I was working with a client and I had a situation that made me feel very uncomfortable. So at that moment, when I'm alone in the home with the client, in the pit of my stomach, I feel something's not right. I started to think, what would happen if I were attacked? Would anyone know where I am and who I'm with? So that led me to do research for our industry, to dive in deeper and see what tools are available that are accessible for realtors to use that take accountability for who we take into a home. And I found that there are some tools that alert emergency contacts, but there's not anything that takes accountability for the identity of who we take into a home. So out of the 1.3 million realtors here in the United States, I'm not alone. My research says that 38% of the realtors have also felt the same way.
And it's interesting because you were saying that there isn't something to hold whoever's being shown the house accountable. And one thing is, apartments always ask for your driver's license when you go to tour an apartment. So why is that, so interesting? Why hasn't the real estate market followed that yet?
It's a great question, and I agree wholeheartedly, because if you and I walk in to go view an empty apartment in many states, if you don't have your license, they ask you to surrender it. And they do that because there's proven results that if you have a policy in place that deters criminal behavior, it helps prevent a crime from happening. And again, you emphasize an empty apartment. Just think about that. If the apartment industry is doing this for their agents and their property managers, why aren't we doing that? We're unlocking doors to homes without a trace. So imagine if I were to, if you had your house on the market and I wanted to take a client in, and I don't really know that this client has a criminal background. We could go into your home, they could look and see where your security systems are, know where your teenage daughter's room is, where your valuables are, and they could come back at a future date.
So it's also it's not just protecting the real estate agents, it's also protecting the homeowners.
Perfect, exactly.
Which is fantastic. So it works both ways, and unfortunately some of the consequences for realtors they have been killed, murdered. And
yes.
You have there were 12, 5 men, 7 women.
Exactly. Actually, in the last decade, there have been over 100 that have been murdered. This is a picture of 12 that I've done research about, read their stories. And a lot of times when I'm talking to realtors in our industry, specifically when I talk to men, they'll say, "Oh, Helen, I understand that's a great tool. I can understand when a female's going into a property with a client, how you could feel unsafe." But this shows right here, out of 12, 5 were men. So men are just as much at risk as we are.
And you're making their lives safer with this SafeShowings app. Tell us a little bit about the app, a rundown. How much is a subscription per year?
Sure, perfect. The app, you can find it on SafeShowings.com. You can download it from our website. You can easily either purchase an annual subscription for $99 or $9 a month prescription. I have a program for offices, for brokerage offices or team members. Anytime there's more than one that registers, I'd be happy to come up with a pricing plan for those individual groups as well.
That's great. That's fantastic that you do it for individuals and groups, and there's a number here to contact, 800-268-8437.
That's right.
They can talk and get more details. Well,
Exactly.
Thank you, Helen, so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
The work you're doing to keep these people is important. Thank you so much. We're back in 2 minutes.